Despite the fact that One Piece is a romanticized story, there's not a lot of actual romance, at least between characters, that goes on. When it comes to the Straw Hats, especially, none of them show any interest in pursuing any sort of relationship outside of like Franky and maybe Brooke. But I think the thing that draws Franky and Robin together is not only their individual dynamics, but how they were introduced to each other back during Enies Lobby. Their personalities on the crew play really well with each other, and they understand the position that the other person is in because they both grew up in very similar circumstances. For a long time, they each had to hide who they truly were in order to just survive in the world that was hunting them down. So when they're finally able to meet each other during Enies Lobby, and while the Straw Hats are just raiding the island for Robin, the main difference between the two at the time is what brings them really close together. Robin is at her lowest point, thinking that she does not deserve to live at this point, which is why she gave herself up. Franky, on the other hand, has already gone through the journey of self-love and self-acceptance. It's why on like the back of his shoulders, he has BF37 tattooed onto them. He labels himself a battle Franky because one of the final lessons that his mentor Tom told him is that if no one else is going to love your creation, their creator has to. You brought something into this world, it is your responsibility to show it that it is cared for. And he extends that message to himself, which is why he labels himself a battle Franky. It's his way of showing that he is finally going to love and accept himself. And he recognizes everything that the Straw Hats are trying to do, as well as what the Franky family and Galley Law is trying to do for him. So when he's captured with Robin and finds out the kind of person who she is, as well as the kind of people who care about her, Franky does what he always does and makes sure that other people receive that same love that he knows that everyone yearns for. And back to their personalities, Robin is someone who, for the most part, is very secluded. She will, participate with everything, but she doesn't overtly show emotion. And contrast this with Franky, who will constantly be showing emotion no matter what it is. And you can tell they enjoy that about each other because for Robin, she's not overtly expressive, but she enjoys being around the presence of those who are, which is why she loves being with the Straw Hats. You can see back during it was Skypiea when they're all partying, they're all having a great time. Originally, she has logic locked in her mind as to how they're supposed to move forward. We need to put out the campfire. We should probably get a good night's rest. But then everyone just starts a party, and she enjoys that presence. And then you have Franky, someone who is constantly exuding emotion no matter what, but he understands that not everyone is the same way as him. And he respects how everyone chooses to express themselves. They both also play very similar roles to each other, when it comes to the rest of the crew, as being that parent authority figure with everyone else when they're off just doing whatever. I say it's most prevalent with Luffy and Chopper, the way that they just handled them as just, rowdy children, and it's very cute. But I think out of everyone in the Straw Hats, the reason why these two, that everyone put them together is because fundamentally they understand each other. They have gone through the same things. You can say this about, virtually any Straw Hat. They have all gone through, similar ordeals in the past. But these two ended up learning from each other and accepted themselves at around the same time. But they did so in different ways. Robin finally accepted the fact that there are people out there in the world who cared about her, and Franky was the one who was able to get her to that realization when she was when they were talking to each other about the Straw Hats and when they finally showed up onto Enies Lobby. And Franky came to the realization that dreams are worth pursuing and not to just stay stagnant. He had a dream that he wanted to pursue, but he felt too guilty about going through with it. But he couldn't keep himself away from it. So when the opportunity finally presented himself of making the grandiose ship and being able to go on that adventure, Robin was the one who forced him onto the ship. Just like how he forced her out of Spondum's clutches back during Enies Lobby, and it was great. I do want to state, I view shipping the same way I view power scaling. It's fun from a distance, because I feel like the closer and closer I get to it, the more everyone just wants to bite your head off. So at the very least, I hope this analysis was fun. Because that's what it's meant to be. I enjoyed these two's dynamic very much, and I do feel like it's a very interesting one to view in the story, and that's why it's very popular. But I know how out of hand a lot of this stuff gets. But yeah, I hope that made sense.